तया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपाय कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदाङ्कितं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीगुरुं सगजातं सहगणं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। सप्तकाञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
हरे कृष्ण। Okay, all together. Narayanam namaskrityam narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam udiraye ishtaprayeshu abhudreshu yam bhagavata sevaya bhagavate uttam shloke bhaktir bhavati neistiki vasudevaya devaki nandanaaya cha nandagorpa kumaraya govindaya namo namaha. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you can just remove your sharing for a moment. Hare Krishna. Okay. Ankit Prabhu and Jay Dharma Prabhu, they asked the question last time. We just quickly discussed. So I thought we can give more details, but somehow I can't find the Jay Dharma Prabhu. He may join late. But usually I want to have this, questions just before the class, previous week's question, so that, we give a full concept. I want so that people also join on time. That's the main idea behind it. So I think I shared this earlier also, right? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, Prabhu. We can see.
Yeah. So I think I did some explanation on this, somewhat more details I can give today. So this was the question he was asking related to, Lord's O's Vasudevaya, the Chatur Yugas, right? Who are the 4 Chatur Yugas?
Sankarshana,
Pradyumna,
yeah.
Yeah, Vasudeva, Shankarshana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. So these are there here also. Okay, let's first start. Okay, well, see, this is actually you can find this information in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So broadly, we can say there are three kinds of forms. Actually, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu elaborates this to Sanatan Goswami. So one is Swayam Rupa, and next is uh, Tat Ekatma Rupa and Avesha. See at the bottom, Avesha. So broadly, we can classify Lord's incarnation under these three main categories. Then we'll get into the details. So then what is Swayam Rupa? Swayam, that word itself, we can understand that means it's the original form. Rupa is form, right? Swayam is the original form of Krishna. So what is the original form? It is the covered boy in Vrindavan. Which Vrindavan?
Golok Vrindavan.
Golok.
Golok Vrindavan, correct. So when he came to the Bhaumika, where in the earth also, he came as Swayam Rupa in Vrindavan. All right, so that is Swayam Rupa. So that simple understanding is Krishna himself is the original form. Swayam Rupa means. Okay. Then what is Tad Ekatma Rupa? So this is also the Lord's form, but he has manifested in different emotions based on different emotions. That's is going to be Tad Ekatma Rupa. His form is same as Lord, but the difference basically is he has different emotions which is manifesting in it. We'll come to the example. Just understand the definitions or the concept of that. And Avesha means he is Vishnu or Lord is Krishna is entering into someone. He enters. So that is Avesha. It could be a living entity who is getting empowered also. So that's the basically these are the three uh, um, titles. Are we clear on this? What is Swayam Rupa?
Krishna with cowherd boy. With yeah.
Krishna
As,
original. See the
yeah.
original Swayam. That's important. And who is that is Krishna is the as a covered boy.
Cowherd boy in
Yeah,
Golok
the
Vrindavan.
original form of Krishna. So he is the original. Swayam Rupa means he is the original. And now from then Tadetvatma means it could be the Swayam Rupa but combined with emotions. That becomes the Tad Ekatma Rupa. So his manifestation. So it's not expansion here. That's why we have to come see the bottom after Swamsa. That's the expansion. This Tad Ekatma Rupa is again manifestation of the same Krishna based on emotions or moods. Okay, and then Avesha is Krishna entering into, empowering someone, entering into someone. So these are the three basic categories. So the Swayam Rupa is again divided into two categories. I mean, actually, Swayam Rupa is next level is Swayam Prakasha. This is again a manifestation. Swayam Prakasha, and that Swayam Prakasha is into two categories. Prabhava, Prabhava Prakasha and Vaibhava Prakasha. You want me to make it a little more bigger?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
So Prabhava Prakasha and Vaibhava Prakasha. So what is this Prabhava Prakasha? So, so Prabhava Prakasha is based on the pastimes, different pastimes which he manifests. So here there are a couple of pastimes mentioned here. Like if you see in the Rasa dance, it's so many gopis Krishna is dancing. So he expands himself or he manifests himself into multiple numbers and he dances with all those gopis. So each gopi feels that Krishna is with him. Similarly, he had 16,108 wives at Dwaraka. So we will come to see in one of the chapters, it will be mentioned that Narada Muni goes to see Krishna. He goes to different palaces. In every palaces, he finds Krishna in a different capacity. One, he is serving his wife or having, with his wife, he's spending time. Another palace, if he goes, he's spending time with his children. In each thing, one different. So what you will make out of it? Like for instance, a yogi is there. A yogi can also take, many mystic forms. At least 8 mystic forms he can take. So the beauty of a yogi, even though he can take 8 forms, but the problem is if in one of the form, if he raises his right hand, all the other forms also raises the right hand. If he speaks something, the other forms also speaks the same thing. But he is not a mystic. Even though Krishna is called a mystic Yogeshwara, but he is different, manifested differently, and each are kind to be a, separate entity. It's not that one person raises the hand, he is also the same action he is doing there. So that is the Prabhava Prakasha, right? It is the expansion, it is the manifestation of him multiples. And Vaibhava Prakasha is also similar, but one difference is again different emotions here. So best example for Vaibhava Prakasha is Balaramji, Lord Balaram. So Krishna and Balaram are same. It is said. In fact, Prabhupada says they are identical. But only what is the one different? Actually, two difference. One is Krishna is complexion, is like the Megasham, like the cloud. Whereas Balaram is fairer complexion. And number two is he is, he is a servited. He is in a servant mood. So Balaram as a servant, he serves the Lord. He serves the Lord. But Krishna himself as Balaram, but he serves the Lord. That's the difference. So this is level is Swayam Rupa. And from Balaram comes the Chaturyugas, right? From Krishna comes Balaram, and from Balaram comes the Chaturyuga. These are the Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So they come under the character of Tad Ekatma Rupa. And that is again categorized as Vilasa. That is his pastimes manifestation. And the Vilasa also are two categories. Prabhava Vilasa and Vibhava Vilasa. Okay, what is the role? Actually, this Chaturyugas, there are two Chaturyugas, right? So one comes again in the from Lord Narayan. See, from Lord Narayan, there is also again Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So there are two levels of Chaturyuga. So what happens here? So from Krishna comes Balaram. From Balaram, this Chaturyugas are there: Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and they are part of this Vilasa. Again, expansion of the Lord or manifestation. We can say he manifests himself into 4 forms. In fact, it is said from Vasudev, Shankarshana comes, and from Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and then Aniruddha. That's how it comes there. So they are identical potential, but emotionally manifestation, they are different. Okay. And then there's the Vibhaha Vilasa. So from the Shankarshana, Lord Narayan comes. So up to this part is said to be the Goloka. This is in the Goloka. And then from Shankarshana Narayana comes, that is the Vaikunta planet. So, and then from Lord Narayana, again, the second quadruple. The first quadruple is called the Adi Chaturyuga, and the second quadruple is called Divtya Chaturyuga, or simple terms, Maha Chaturyuga. They are Maha Chaturyugas.
With you.
Divtya. All right. And in Vaikunta, if you see, there are millions of universe, and each one of these universe has um, various Vaikuntha planets, and each planet, I mean, in each, what to say, the Vaikuntha planet, millions of Vaikuntha planets, in each one of them, there are 24 planets, right? In that, if you see here, 24 numbers are here. Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, Govinda. So in one Vaikuntha planet, there are 24, like in the Earth, in the universe, there are 14 planetary system. Like that, there are 24 there.
Okay.
Right. And how they differentiate of this is how they hold. These are all four-handed form of Krishna. Right. So each one of them, how they hold the four items. For instance, Janardana. So he holds the lotus, from the lower right, then upper right, upper left, lower left. So if you take that order, he holds the lotus in the bottom right, and the upper right he holds the Sudarshan chakra, and on the left side he holds the conch shell, and the bottom is the mace or the club. So this position keeps changing de- based on their names. So if you take Keshava, he is just the opposite of what we saw here. Right? Is just, if you reverse it, that's how he holds it. So like that, each one of them holds there. Okay. And then it comes to personal expansion. So at the level of Brahma Jyoti and the Vraja river, outside the spiritual world, it's where the causal ocean is, where Karnoy Daksha and Vishnu is there. Then from Karnoy Daksha Vishnu, so this we already know, right? We already explained this.
Hmm.
Right. So Karna Dasha Vishnu, from him the universe is created. All the universes comes out from his pores. When he breathes out, it comes. When he breathes in, it goes in. And with his glance is the pradhana manifested. The material world is manifested. So into each universe, Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters, and from him a navel, the Lord Brahma comes, and then he starts the creation. And number three is Sirodaksha Vishnu. So once the creations are created, living entity and all, the same Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters as Shirodaksha Vishnu. So Shirodaksha Vishnu, if you take Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, so it is this Shirodaksha Vishnu is what is mentioned. So he is the one who is maintaining this universe. So the role of the Chaturyugas are basically the administrators of both the spiritual level, the first Chaturyuga, and then the Chaturyuga second was for the material level. So they are the administrators for them through their manifestation of various Vishnus like Karuna, Daksha, Purusha avatars. All right. And then is Avesha. Avesha, as I said, he enters into it. We have is around 6 levels of avatars. One is Purusha avatars, which are already seen. Then Leela, Guna, Yuga avatars, and Manvantara avatars. And this Avesha basically related to Shakti Avesha. So that is like, Bhagavan himself takes a form, direct form. So like Rishabdev, Kapila Muni. And then Vibhudis, they are indirect, like Narada Muni, Vyasadeva, Maharaj Prithu, Parshuram, Lord Brahma. So these are all comes under those categories. Okay, anything on this? No other questions, only thing related to whatever I explained. If there is any questions, quickly before we can get into the Vishnu Tattva.
Prabhu, if you scroll up to the Vaikuntha planets,
Sorry, bro.
if you scroll up to the Vaikuntha planets,
Yeah.
why is it like two arrows? There's like one goes to Swamamsha, and the other one goes to like the
No,
ones in
from
the bottom.
Sankarshana only the Swamsa comes, and this is through. See, these are linked with Vasudev, Keshava, and Narayan. From Vasudev come Keshava, Narayana, Madhava, and these people. These
Uh,
these forms of Vishnu's there. And from Shankarshana these comes, but again from Shankarshana only the Purusha Avadas comes. This Maha Shankarshana and Mahavishnu comes from him. Okay.
And
So, but
I also,
main top category is Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and from that, in fact, from Vasudev only Shankarshana comes. From Shankarshana, Pradyumna, from Pradyumna to Aniruddha, right?
and there's also Krishna over there as well, like number
Yes,
24.
yes, yes,
So
yes,
is he
yes,
the present there in a different mood compared to
yes,
Golok?
yes, yes. This is the Vaikuntha Krishna. So, in fact, if you see, the Sri Vaishnavas, for them is Lord Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for Gaudiya Sampradaya, for us, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, how they look at Krishna, for them, Krishna is a Purna Avatar. He is a full Avatar. But for them, Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. And one second, one more point I wanted to mention.
Babuji, where we can get this,
This
like
chart,
this?
I can share this chart, but as I told you, it's in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah, but there are a description. There is not chart like this, I think.
No, chart is not there. There's description. That is in Madhya Leela, I think, chapter 20 from text 165. Those who are interested. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 20 from text 165. It is there. So, what I wanted to add one more thing on Chatur Yugas. So each of their role of this secondary Chaturyagas, right? So Vasudev is said to be, is govern the consciousness, Chit. So he puts people in, if you are worshipping Vasudev, it is the pure state of goodness, Suddha Shakti, Sattva. And the Shankarshana is, he governs the false ego. And Pradyumna is, he governs the intelligence. And Aniruddha governs the mind. So these are the roles of this Chaturyugas.
So there are Dwarka and Mathura also.
Hmm? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's another point. Yes. So these are, these Chaturyugas are in Mathura and Dwarka. Yeah. And the second Chaturyuga are from Vaikuntha. And this Karuno Daksha Vishnu are in the Varaja river, that which separates the spiritual world and the material world.
Okay.
And then Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters into each universe. Sirodaksha Vishnu enters into each one of us as Paramatma. And these are different levels of avatars, which occur in which manifest in the material world. And coming to other topic on the Vishnu, where is Krishna and Vishnu? Okay, so Krishna is said to have 64 qualities, right? And Vishnu is said to have 60 qualities. And Lord Shiva is said to have 55 qualities. And Brahma
Mm.
possesses 50 qualities in full potency. And Jivatma, we also possess 50 qualities, but in limited qualities. So that's the
Late.
difference between Brahma and Jivat. Some Jivas can have very good potency qualities. You can see very beautiful they are, or very, what to say, mm, wealthy, different potencies, but still not like at that level of Brahma. But Krishna is having 100%, 64 qualities of that. So, and Vishnu is 60 qualities. So what's the four different qualities there? Anyone knows? So Krishna is the one with the flute. So Venu Madhurya. And Krishna is the one who has different pastimes, Rupa Madhurya. And Bhakta Madhurya. So he's always surrounded by the Bhaktas, devotees. So Leela, Bhakta, Venu, and Rupa is the beautiest beauty, incomparable beauty. So these are the four things. Difference between Vishnu and Krishna. Otherwise, they are same. Okay, I'll
Prabhuji,
stop here. Yeah,
I need to know something about this Brahma Jyoti.
yeah. Just we can put the question. We can take that later. It's already 7:40.
Okay.
No, Brahma Jyoti is nothing but the effulgence coming from Lord Krishna. See,
It
the
is like
spiritual world, there
spiritual,
is no question of sun or moon or anything. It's all very bright. The effulgence coming from the Lord.
so it is a
If you
spiritual
read,
sky, I think, yeah? Spiritual
huh?
sky.
Yeah,
Spiritual
no,
sky.
it's a spiritual sky means it is no entire spiritual world. We can say a spiritual sky, but from the spiritual world is the one, the effulgence coming out of Lord Krishna. That's giving the brightness. So Brahma Jyoti is the brightness, light, and that is also Brahman. Brahma Jyoti or Brahman. That's generally people think that is the supreme.
Yeah,
But we
so
we understand the three levels, right? Brahman,
yeah, so the
Paramatma,
people
and
who worship Krishna as a Brahman, and then they will come here and they will fall down, yeah? They will come until Brahma Jyoti level.
yeah, mainly the jnanis, they go up to the Brahman level.
And then they will fall down again, yeah, due to some desire.
No, they may be there for a long time, very long time. You may be there,
Okay.
but yeah, you can also fall down from there.
Hmm.
Mm. No activity as a soul, we have to do some action, right?
Hmm.
Always we are acting something, but then in Brahman, it's active. You are merging with the Brahman. But even though you are merging, you are individual there without any activity, action. Okay, all right. That's a
Okay.
simple
Thank
answer on that. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Just put on the share. Hope whatever I explained you understood. But one more question will be there. Okay, let me put one question. Like, when Krishna was born to Devaki, you can see in many pictures also on the Krishna book also. So Krishna appeared in four-handed form, it is said. Krishna
you.
appeared first in four-handed form, right? So what under what category that Krishna would fall? Anyone?
Vishnu.
Where is Vishnu here? There is no category called Vishnu here. Vishnu
Okay.
comes here. Karunamay Daksha, Vishnu,
Narayana. Yeah.
Narayana,
Pradyumna.
Vasudev.
Pradyumna, Vasudev. Vasudev could be more or less there. We also read, do you remember one of the questions of sages?
Vishnu Tattva.
Hmm? What is the third question, I think. So why
Uh,
was
why
Krishna
Krishna born
born?
to
Yeah.
to
So the four-handed form, what this is little confusing. I don't want to confuse you. This is said where that Rupa Goswami says that four-handed form Krishna is actually also again Swayam Rupa or Swayam Prakasha Krishna. The original form of Krishna, he came there, appeared before Devaki and Vasudev. But then they wanted to him to see he there in the two-handed form. So he says that is um, Prabhava Prakasha is the two-handed form. And you can see the same thing happened again in the Bhagavad Gita. If you see, Krishna appeared he wanted, who? Arjuna wanted to see Krishna in 400 form, right? He again showed him the 400 form. All right, stop here. Let's go to put today's class. Any questions, just put on the chat, we can discuss. Oh, Jay Dharma Prabhu, were you there? No?
Sorry, Prabhu. I'm just came back. Yeah. I just
Yeah,
joined
it's
little bit.
simple in a sense, your question, I was just explaining all the Chatur
Yeah.
Yugas. I just to put it, Vasudev, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So there
Yeah.
are two ones, Adi one and Maha Chaturyugas. So their roles are basically for the administration of the material and the spiritual world. And if you see in the material world, they are controlling the mind, false ego, each one. Like Aniruddha controls the mind, and Pradyumna controls the false ego. Uh, And then Shankarshana, no, not Pradyumna, I think Shankarshana controls the false ego. And the first one, Vasudev, is the consciousness, Chitta. He's the one who's controlling the Chitta. So they have the roles like that.
So if we apply that creation, maintenance, or sustenance, and then
Yeah,
destruction.
actually from Shankarshana only comes the, the
The
Garbhodaksha, Vishnu.
creation.
Yeah, those three Purusha avatars. Yeah, Pradyumna is intelligence, Aniruddha is mind, Shankarshana is false ego, and Vasudev is Chitta. Okay. All right. So we are with Narada Muni. Quickly, this is this. What's happening here is, can someone tell up to where we are? This 12 verses. So the previous chapter, chapter 5, where Narada Muni concludes how he becomes a devotee, right? But then in this chapter, again, Vyasadeva is asking that he wants to know more about Narada Muni.
Yeah.
So he is inquiring further, after the departure of the Bhakti-Vedantas or the sages, what happened? What did you do after your initiation? So then how did you remember things, after this prayer day of Brahma? And the Narada speaks about his story. So he is telling about his story, how his mother passed away. Anyone remembers how his mother passed away?
Yeah, by snake
Snake bite.
bite.
By snake bite when?
She was going for milking the cows at
Oh,
night.
exactly, when he was milking the cow. And then Narada Muni also mentions about the tie of affection they had, the mother and son. And after she left, is nothing one to care for him and what he does after that. So how does he take it? This passing away of his mother.
He take as a mercy of Lord.
Yeah, he takes it as a special mercy of the Lord. Okay, before that, I think Soumya Mataji is there. Okay, she had a question like in the quiz, one of the questions there, like how was Brahma born? I mean, how was Narada Muni born? What is the birth of
Yes,
Narada?
Prabhuji. How was
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah. So what others answers? There were two, I think at least two of them we got all correct.
As a maid servant, son of the maid servant.
Yeah, but other Mataji's point is, was he not the son of Brahma?
That is in his next birth, no?
It was in previous Kalpa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So the question is, how was Narada Muni born? So from Brahma directly. But the main point is in that chapter, that's not mentioned, no, that he is coming from Brahma. It is our knowledge we are saying. So the question was related to Chama. Technically, it could be correct. He was coming from Brahma's senses, right? Narada Muni was born from the senses of Brahma. But we will see in this chapter really what happened. So I don't want to disclose that now. It's coming in the 30th verse of this chapter. All
Prabhuji,
right?
my
Yeah.
confusion was that if the question would have been that how was Narad Muni born in the previous life,
Yeah,
then
I understand that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my confusion. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, let's go to this. Who wants to read? Can you all put your hands? Yeah. Vinay Prabhu, you can start.
Hare Krishna. Nalavenu charastanva kusa kichaka gavaram eka ivat yato aham adraksam vipinam mahat ghoram pratipya karam vyoluluka shivajaram. Translation. I then passed alone through many forests of rushes, bamboos, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, and caves, which were very difficult to go through alone. I visited deep, dark, and dangerously fearful forests, which were the playards of snakes, owls, and jackals. Purport. It is the duty of mendicant to experience all varieties of God creations by traveling alone through all forests, hill towns, villages, etc., to gain faith in God and strength of mind, as well as to enlighten the inhabitants with the message of God. A sannyasi is duty bound to take all this risk without fear, and the most typical sannyasi at the present age is Lord Chaitanya, who traveled in the same manner through the central Indian jungles, enlightening even the tigers, bears, snakes, deer, elephants, and many other jungle animals. In this age of Kali, sannyasa is forbidden for ordinary men. One who changes his dress to make propaganda in a different man from the original ideal sannyasi, one should, however, take a vow to stop social intercourse completely, devote life exclusively to the service of the Lord. The change of dress is only a formality. Lord Chaitanya did not accept the name of sannyasi, and in this age of Kali, the so-called sannyasi should not change their former names, following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya. In this age, devotional service of hearing and repeating the holy glories of the God is strongly recommended. One who takes the vows of renunciation of family life need not imitate the Parivrajacharya like Narada or Lord Chaitanya, but many sit down at some holy place and devote his whole time and energy to hear and repeatedly chant the holy scriptures left by the great acharyas like the six Goswamis of Vrindavana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oh, yeah, this is just explaining how he is traveling into various creations of the Lord, like the forest and different type of forest, like bamboo, reeds, sharp grass, weeds, caves. So there could be a fearful, dangerous forest where all wild animals are there, right? So they're explaining on that. Prabhupada mentions, how a Parivikacharya sees, how they experience the nature. Many times if you see, people see the nature and think that itself is God, but that God is behind that. That's what we need to understand. Now, everything is coming from Him. And then Prabhupada also highlights on the sannyas. Now, in the age of Kali, there is sannyas is forbidden for ordinary men. That's what Prabhupada highlights here. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, Kangana Mataji.
Okay, Prabhuji. परिश्रन्तेन्द्रिययात्महं कृपरितो बुभुक्षितः स्नात्वा पीत्वा हृदेनाद्या उपस्पृष्टो गताश्रमाः. Translation by Prabhupada ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Thus traveling, I felt tired both bodily and mentally, and I was both thirsty and hungry. So I took a bath in a river lake and also drank water. By contacting water, I got relief from my exhaustion. Purport: a traveling mendicant can meet the needs of the body, namely thirst and hunger, by the gifts of nature without being a beggar at the doors of the householders. The mendicant therefore does not go to the house of a householder to beg, but to enlighten him spiritually.
Yeah, okay. I think this is understandable. Yeah, we'll go to the next. So he says for his thirsty and hunger, he took bath there and drank some water.
Yeah.
Prabhupada highlights that even for a mendicant, Krishna makes arrangement for whatever they need. All right, next, who wants to read? Jai Dharma Prabhu? Or?
Sure, Prabhu, I can read. तस्मिन् निर्मानुजे रण्ये Piplopasta ashritaha atmanatmanam atmastam yatha shrutam achintayam. After that, under the shadow of banyan tree in an uninhabited fir, I began to meditate upon the super soul situated within, using my intelligence, as I learned from the liberated souls. Purport. One should not meditate according to one's own whims. One should not know perfectly well from the authoritative sources of the scriptures through the transparent medium of a bona fide spiritual master and by the proper use of one's trained intelligence for meditating upon the super soul dwelling within every living being. This consciousness is firmly developed by a devotee who has rendered loving service to the Lord by carrying out the orders of the spiritual master. Sri Narad contacted bona fide spiritual masters, served them sincerely, and got enlightened rightly. Thus, he began to meditate. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. So, Prabhu, any points here?
I think here, what is the right way of meditating on the super soul has been mentioned, which ideally need to come from the spiritual master and or the Paramahamsas, Guru Sadhu Shastra. So, by meditating upon them, if their mercy is there with the Lord's mercy, then yeah, they can get enlightened and the Lord can show his mercy.
Yes, sure. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah. So, as we see, he had traveled a lot of distance, and after that, he was feeling thirsty and hungry. He drank some water, and then he sat in under a banyan tree and rested. And without any anxiety or no chintan is meditation, so that he can focus on the thing. So what he is meditating on, what is spiritual master, they by Bhakti Vedantas or the sages, what they taught him. So under the guidance, whatever they did, he is meditating. Next one, Prabhu. So who's reading the next one? Bhupesh, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. ध्यायस्तश्चरणाम्भोजं भावनिर्जितचेतसा औत्तङ्कट्याश्रुकलाक्षस्य हृदय आसिन्मे शनैर्हरेः. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As soon as I began to meditate upon the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead with my mind transformed in transcendental love, tears rolled down my eyes, and without delay, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna appeared on the lotus of my heart. Purport. The word bhava is significant here. This bhava stage is attained after one has transcendental affection for the Lord. The first initial stage is called Shraddha or a liking for the Supreme Lord. And in order to increase that liking, one has to associate with pure devotees of the Lord. The third stage is to practice the prescribed rules and regulations of the devotional service. This will dissipate all sorts of misgivings and remove all personal deficiencies that hamper progress in devotional service. When all misgivings and personal deficiencies are removed, there is a standard faith in the transcendental matter, and the taste for it increases in greater proportion. This stage leads to attraction, and after this, there is a bhava or prior stage of unalloyed love for God. All the above different stages are but different stages of development of transcendental love. Being so surcharged with transcendental love, there comes a strong feeling of separation, which leads to 8 different kinds of ecsta- ecstasies. Tears from the eyes of devotees, an automatic reaction, and because Sri Narad Muni in his previous birth attained that stage very quickly after his departure from home, it was quite possible for him to perceive the actual presence of the Lord, which he tangibly experienced by his developed spiritual senses without material tinge. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here this verse and actually the next verse also talks about the result of what happens when he is meditating on the Lord's form. Right? So Narada Muni concentrate on the lotus feet of the Lord with deep love. And it also tells about the stage, what stage we are talking here in the Shraddha to Prema.
Bhava.
So he's come into the bhava level or the ecstasy level, and then with this meditation he went very deep into that. So that you can see the ecstasy. It says the tears roll down from my eyes, and there's a word called what is that? Sanya. That is without delay, Lord. Without delay, the personality of Godhead, Krishna, appeared within his heart. So he was able to see Lord within the heart. So he experienced the spiritual ecstasy. So his body is now actually transforming, from the material into spiritualizing. So he absorbed the bliss, and he forgot himself, as well as only the Lord was appearing within his heart. So we can't experience that because I don't think any one of us are at that level. So Narada Muni was experiencing that kind of a bliss through the meditation. All right, let's go to the next one. Who wants to read? Prashant Prabhu is there. Prabhu, I can't hear you. Prabhu, we can't hear you. Anyone else you want to give?
Haribol now is
Yeah, now is good.
Premati bar nibbinam pulakango ati nivritaha ananda samplave lino napsyam ubhyam mune prema. O Vasudev, at that time, being exceedingly overpowered by feelings of happiness, every part of my body became separately enlivened. Being absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy, I could not see both myself and the Lord. Spiritual feelings of happiness and intense ecstatics have no mundane comparison. Therefore, it is very difficult to give expression to such feelings. We can just have a glimpse of such ecstasy in words of Sri Narada Muni. Each and every part of the body or senses has its particular function. After seeing the Lord, all the senses become fully awakened to render service unto the Lord, because in the liberated state the senses are fully efficient in serving the Lord. As such, in that transcendental ecstasy, it is so happened that the senses became separately enlivened to serve the Lord. This being so, Narad Muni lost himself in seeing both himself and the Lord simultaneously. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So here it says, with this meditation, when he reached the Baba stage of ecstasy, his feeling of happiness, that's basically the blissfulness, not just in his mind or heart, it is for every part of the body. He felt it has become separated and end-living. He was absorbed totally in the ocean of ecstasy. So he could not feel that he is a body or something like that. So in fact, it is something like uh, spiritualizing. The soul is totally awakened. Alright. So that's the transcendental ecstasy. That's what Prabhupada mentions in the purport. It so happened that senses became separately enlivened to serve the Lord. Thus being so, Narada Muni lost himself in seeing himself and Lord simultaneously. So we can sometimes, if we are deeply chanting, in ecstasy, in very nice concentrated chanting, I think sometimes we can get this type of experience. Anyone has this experience? of blissful chanting? Prashant Prabhu, you want to tell something?
Sometimes it happens, it's like going up, sometimes it goes down like that. Sometimes we get that bliss. Sometimes when the kirtan is going on, we feel that, that it's very little amount of time.
Yeah. So momentary bliss we can sometimes feel.
Yeah, momentary, yeah.
And, yeah, as you rightly said in Kirtan, sometimes, without joy, you automatically get up, stand up, and you start dancing. Your feet's going on. Your senses are, that's what Prabhupada highlights here. That senses become separated and they become enlightened, enlivened. All right. Let's go to the next verse. Who's there to read? Read to Machaji.
Hare Krishna. Text 18. Rupam Bhagavato Yat Tat Manaha Kantam Sucha Apaham Apyashyan Sahasya Uttashate Vaikalyatam Durmanaha Eva. Eva. The translation. The transcendental form of the Lord as it is satisfies the mind's desire and at once erases all mental incongruities. Upon losing that form, I suddenly got up, being perturbed, as is usual when loses that which is desirable. Purport. That the Lord is not formless is experienced by Narda Muni, but his form is completely different from all forms of our material experience. For the whole duration of our life, we go see different forms in the material world, but none of them is just apt to satisfy the mind, nor can any one of them banish all perturbance of the mind. These are the special features of the transcendental form of Lord, and one who has once seen that form is not satisfied with anything else. No form in the material world can any longer satisfy the seer. That the Lord is formless or impersonal means that he has nothing like a material form and is not like any material personality. As spiritual beings having eternal relations with that transcendental form of the Lord, we are life after life searching after that form of Lord, and we are not satisfied by any other form of material appeasement. Narada Muni got a glimpse of this, but having not seen it again, he became perturbed and stood up all of a sudden to search it out. What we desired life after life was obtained by Narada Muni, and losing sight of him again was certainly a great shock for him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So it's saying what happened after he meditated and was able to see Lord within his heart. He was totally satisfied. So the Lord form satisfied his desires, and it also erases all the disturbances in the mind, all the mental incongruities. So when all is disturbance, anxiety, everything is disappeared, and he is in that ecstasy. And what happens in the next moment? He lost that form. He couldn't see that anymore. Just for a momentary, as I said, some momentary form is there, but we are not hankering for that. We are very happy. Sometimes, I also felt while chatting sometimes, sometimes, especially when after doing 16 rounds, if you want to continue to do one more round, that where you can really see, how your chanting is, right? So someone said, the chanting really starts after the 16th round. By the time we finish the 16th round, then you really get that, that mood to continue. Sometimes we feel, oh, okay, I'm done for the day. So that is not our chanting is not that we can feel our chanting how weak it is. But if you're really chanting very strongly, you will feel you want to continue it for some more rounds, right? So like that here, for a momentary bliss, what he had, he lost it, and then he is perturbed because of that, because he's desiring more of that, but he lost it. So Prabhupada highlights, the Lord is not a formless. He's form. He's completely all form, which is different from any material experience we can have. So Narada Muni is now begging to see, he begged to see the same form again. Actually, the form of Krishna gives so much satisfaction to our senses, the joy and peace. So, said darshan of the Lord will really remove all the disturbance, the restless mind, disturbances in the mind. All right, let's go to the next one. Vinay Prabhu, you want to? Or Swapnil Prabhu, I think I didn't give you a chance.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, verse 1.6.19. Didrikshus tad aham bhuya pranidhyaya manoridi viksmano vikshmano pi napasyam avitrapata ivaturah. Translation by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ji. I desired to see again the transcendental form of the Lord, but despite my attempts to concentrate upon the heart with eagerness to view the form again, I could not see him anymore, and thus dissatisfied, I was very much aggrieved. Purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. There is no mechanical process to see the form of the Lord. It completely depends on the causeless mercy of the Lord. We cannot demand the Lord to be present before our vision, just as we cannot demand the sun to rise whenever we like. The sun rises out of his own accord. So also the Lord is pleased to be present out of his causeless mercy. One should simply await the opportune moment, and go on discharging his prescribed duty in devotional service of the Lord. Narad Muni thought that the Lord could be seen again by the same mechanical process which was successful in the first attempt. But in spite of his utmost endeavor, he could not make the second attempt successful. The Lord is completely independent of all obligations. He can simply be bound by the tie of unalloyed devotion. Nor is he visible or perceivable by our material senses. When he pleases, being satisfied with the sincere attempt of devotional service, depending completely on the mercy of the Lord, then he may be seen out of his own accord. Hari Bol.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So here again, this 19th verse talks about how his dissatisfaction. He is now, he was desiring to see the Lord. He saw the Lord, but then he lost that form. Again, he is desiring to see that transcendental form which he lost. So he is trying to do what? Trying to meditate, concentrate more. But still, that form he couldn't get it again. So his dissatisfaction increased, and he became much aggrieved. So the eagerness for him to see, hear, serve Krishna, if someone is more eager, you could really say, they have really developed love for Krishna. That's why Krishna Prem, that's the ultimate goal. So it depends on how eager you are to see or hear Krishna. Many people, I know, they start chanting, they do some service, and immediately they'll say, I'm not able to see Krishna. So what is the answer for that? Have you heard that? I know some people join Krishna consciousness 1, 2, 3 years. Then they say, I'm chanting very well, I'm doing this service, I'm doing that service. But Prabhu, I'm not able to, I want to see Krishna. I'm not able to see Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Swapnil Prabhu.
Yes, Rasananda Prabhu. I think, I feel some very nice Maharaj had mentioned that in the Brisbane temple that Krishna is not something cheap. It's not something which is cheap. It's basically, it's not like we did something and like got a certificate or a master's or a diploma. It's sort of now and obviously it's the complete Lord's volition. It is up to him when he wants to appear or not. So, as this paragraph mentions.
Yeah. There's a key point in this paragraph. That's why I asked this question. Anyone else want to give a try? Roshan Prabhu, I think you want to read the next verse, right? That's why you put your hand there.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I think, Prabhu, just I heard one of the Maharaj was mentioning, like Lord's mercy, it's not something
Exactly.
which we can attain, rather it need to be awarded. So I think in this last sentence,
Exactly.
talked about he may sin out of his own accord. So he only decides when he
Yeah.
wants to
Yeah.
shower that mercy.
So basically, it's the costless mercy of the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one you get. And Lord can judge you better than yourself, I would say. And you judge yourself that you are a great devotee. But Lord has to say that. And then he will give you that. Even Narada Muni, who was meditating, you just see of a 5-year-old boy at that level of consciousness. And Lord gave the vision and he lost. Okay. Roshan Prabhu, next.
Hare Krishna. Evam yatantam vijane mama bhagocharo giram gambhira shaklashnaya vacha shucha prashamayaniva. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. I see my attempts in that lonely place. The personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all mundane description, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words, just to mitigate my grief. Purport. In the Vedas it is said that God is beyond the approach of mundane words and intelligence, and yet by his causeless mercy, one can have suitable sense to hear him or to speak to him. This is the Lord's inconceivable energy. One upon whom his mercy is bestowed can hear him. The Lord was much pleased with Narad Muni, and therefore the necessary strength was invested in him so that he could hear the Lord. It is not, however, possible for the others to perceive directly to the touch of the Lord during the probationary stage of regular devotional service. It was a special gift for Narad. When he heard the pleasing words of the Lord, the feelings of separation were to some extent mitigated. A devotee in love with God feels always the pangs of separation and is therefore always enwrapped in transcendental ecstasy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So what happened after that when he was trying to attempt to see the Lord again? So he failed that. But then what Lord spoke to him? No, he heard a grave voice with the gravity and pleasing words. Once he heard that, his grief was mitigated. So Krishna spoke to Narada, to calm his grief. Lord, the words, rather than seeing, now he's hearing the words from Lord. That's the Vani. Generally we see the Vapu and Vani, right? So many initiated devotees are also there. Many feel that, we want to directly serve your Guru Maharaj, do that and all. But it's very difficult for, to all the time be with your Guru Maharaj and serve him and stuff. But then your service is through hearing his Vani, what is instructions and following that. Right now, the same thing happened here. He was trying to see the Lord, within his heart, but he lost it. But at least he was satisfied. He heard the Lord's voice, pleasing words from the Lord. So even though, Lord physically he can't see, his instructions remained with him. So hearing and following his words gives the same benefits like, what is seeing the Lord. So Narada actually by that he obtained perfection by obeying the Lord's instructions. So these are some of the lessons which we learn, from this Bhagavatam, this particular section of Bhagavatam. Okay. So a devotee in love with the Lord always feels the pang of separation. So he felt the pang of separation, but still Lord provided him with the transcendental ecstasy by speaking to him. Gaurangi Mataji, want to read or a question?
No,
Next
Prabhuji, I
verse.
want to read. Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Hantasmin janmani bhavan ma mam drishtam iharati avipakva kasha yanam durdaso ham kuyo ginam. Translation: O Narad, the Lord spoke, I regret that during this lifetime you will not be able to see me anymore. Those who are incomplete in service and who are not completely free from all material taints can hardly see me. Purport: the personality of Godhead is described in the Bhagavad Gita as the most pure, the supreme, and the absolute truth. There is no trace of a tinge of materiality in his person, and thus one who has the slightest tinge of material affection cannot approach him. The beginning of devotional service starts from the point when one is freed from at least two forms of material modes, namely the mode of passion and the mode of ignorance. The result is exhibited by the sign of being freed from kama, lust, and lobha, covetousness. That is to say, one must be freed from the desires for sense satisfaction and avarice for sense gratification. The balanced mode of nature is goodness, and to be completely freed from all material tinges is to become free from the mode of goodness also. To search the audience of God in a lonely forest is considered to be in the mode of goodness. One can go out into the forest to attain spiritual perfection, but that does not mean that one can see the Lord personally there. One must be completely freed from all material attachment and be situated on the plane of transcendence, which alone will help the devotee get in personal touch with the personality of Godhead. The best method is that one should live at a place where the transcendental form of the Lord is worshipped. The temple of the Lord is a transcendental place, whereas the forest is a materially good habitation. A neophyte devotee is always recommended to worship the deity of the Lord, Archana, rather than go into the forest to search out for the Lord. The devotional service begins from the process of Archana, which is better than going out in the forest. In his present life, which is completely freed from all material hankerings, Sri Narada Muni does not go into the forest, although he can turn every place into Vaikuntha by his presence only. He travels from one planet to another to convert men, gods, kinnaras, gandharvas, rishis, munis, and all others to become devotees of the Lord. By his activities, he has engaged many devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and many others in transcendental service of the Lord. A pure devotee of the Lord therefore follows in the footsteps of the great devotees like Narada and Prahlada and engages his whole time in glorifying the Lord by the process of kirtana. Such a preaching process is transcendental to all material qualities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very nice purport, Prabhupada has written. Okay, let's see the translation. So, what is Lord saying here? Anyone?
Narad will not be able to see him again in this
Yeah,
lifetime
yes. Why? The reason also Lord gives. What is the reason why
because he is not
Narada cannot
completely
see?
freed from all material taints.
Yeah. So he is not totally purified. His services are still immature. His heart is not fully pure. So we can see here, even with that kind of a love one shows with the Lord is able to reciprocate. And then he gives that, you need to purify yourself furthermore. So this is another learnings here. Okay, beautiful purport by Prabhupada. Some of the key points anyone can try to highlight. One point somewhere each.
Devotion starts when we are freed from the mode of passion and ignorance.
No, one is with a tinge of material affection, one cannot approach him. A materialistic person, a karmi is very difficult to approach the Lord unless you have some kind of a devotion toward the Lord. That's one of the first key point mentioned here. Then
A neophyte devotee, it is recommended that they do the devotional service, by worshipping the deity rather than going to a forest and meditating
Mm.
till he gets that purification.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, before that, how we have to get rid out of the lust and greed, kama and lobha, free from sense gratifications, and we have to get into the mode of goodness. And then comes the how one should, do the service within rather than, renunciating and thinking of going to the forest. Why? It's better to go to the forest, right? Where you can concentrate more on the Lord. Why it is said that?
That's for the person who is already in the pure uh, devotional service, who has achieved. But for most of the others, like who has not yet completely freed from the material anchorings, they have to first purify themselves. So by doing the deity worship and chanting and all other 9 processes, gradually that gets cleansed and
Yeah.
they can become more qualified.
Mm. So
Pure.
that if you see in the other yugas, like Dhruva Maharaj went to the forest, right?
Yeah.
But in Kali Yuga, that's what in one of the other purports which we read, Kali Yuga, even sannyasi is not allowed, is forbidden. And what to say about going to the forest and trying to be in a secluded place and without association, nothing will happen in this yoga. So association is very important. So in the forest, what is the association you are getting? And you will be very diverted. And we can see another example of Bharat Maharaj, how he was. He was in the Bhava stage and he got, attached to the deer. He gave up a kingdom but got attached to a deer. So in his next life, he became a deer. And forest, we don't know how our path will be there. So it's better always to be in association of devotees. And if we try to fall down, someone will try to pull you up from devotion. Yeah, can you pull it up? Yeah. So this present life, which is completely free from hankering, Nada Muni does not go into forest. Also, he turned every place into Vaikunta. All right, let's go to the next one. Swapnil Prabhu, you want to read? Or?
Yes, Prabhuji, I've read before, but if no one's reading, I would like to read.
Yeah,
Uh,
you read. No problem.
okay, verse number 1.6.22. सकृद् यद् दर्शितं रूपम् एतत् कामयाते नघ मत्कमा सनकये साधु सर्वन् मुञ्चति रिचयान्. Translation by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. O virtuous one, you have only once seen my person, and this is just to increase your desire for me. Because the more you hanker for me, the more you will be freed from all material desires. Purport: a living being cannot be vacant of desires. He is not a dead stone. He must be working, thinking, feeling, and willing. But when he thinks, feels, and wills materially, he becomes entangled. And conversely, when he thinks, feels, and wills for the service of the Lord, he becomes gradually freed from all entanglement. The more a person is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, the more he acquires a hankering for it. That is the transcendental nature of godly service. Material service has satiation, whereas spiritual service of the Lord has neither satiation nor end. One can go on increasing his hankerings for the loving transcendental service of the Lord, and yet he will not find satiation or end. But by intense service of the Lord, one can experience the presence of the Lord transcendently. Therefore, seeing the Lord means being engaged in his service because his service and his person are identical. The sincere devotee should go with sincere service of the Lord. The Lord will give proper direction as to how and where it has to be done. There was no material desire in Narada. Yet, just to increase intense desire for the Lord, he was so advised. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So I have a question here. Many people, when we were neophyte or when we came into Krishna consciousness, how many of you, any of you have felt, initially, you would have had, that enthusiasm, gore and other thing. Over a period of time, did you have the same kind of enthusiasm? Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, I would just obviously, I can only speak for myself because of my experiences. What I feel is, when I was first introduced, I thought that thought like very stupidly or foolishly that, oh my God, this is so easy, and like, oh my God, this is so beautiful, and I am feeling what all is described in all these beautiful descriptions. So got the initial taste, and then basically when it started coming into when I practiced more, then it sort of plateaued. Initially there was a big peak, and then it was a plateau, and then when there was highs and lows, everything. So I feel initially there was like this, like people have the honeymoon period like that, but and then in sort of like it plateaus and that like that. Yes,
Yeah,
I feel like
thank
that.
you, Prabhu. Anyone else want to share? Yes, I also felt the same. Initially, when we came, we have that, sore and,
Super enthusiasm.
different. Then over a period of time, it becomes mechanically, and then everyday routine. It becomes routine. Initially, that euphoria is there. Anyone else can want to share?
Yes,
Then
Prabhu, I
we'll come
would
to the
I
like
question.
to
completely
share.
agree.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. So like I think initially when I started going into the temple, I used to be very excited. I think I'm still excited, but
Yeah.
now I feel like I used to be very excited about all the festivals and everything, but now it feels very stable, like mentally.
Mm,
It
mm,
feels like although I'm still
mm,
like a neophyte, but I feel
mm.
like I have a relation, and it feels very. Although I do have my highs and lows, but it feels very stable inside and like
Mm,
sort of secure inside. So
mm,
as Prabhuji mentioned earlier that it was like there was a honeymoon phase earlier, but
mm.
now it feels like, oh, you're still settled in kind of
Okay.
thing. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, is there anyone else who had different opinion? My initial, apart from initial, now my services are very excellent. Anyone have any other feeling, any other thought or similar thoughts you want to share? No? We'll give any other chance to others,
Sorry,
and then
sorry.
if no one is there, then I'll come back to you. All right. So no one wants to share their own personal
It's the
experience. You see,
same, Prabhu. I think.
Narada Muni has shared, all this stuff. I also felt when I joined newly and when we were offering, especially when offering prasadam and others, I really feel very blissful and the difference in that and all. But over a period of time, it becomes, routine. Right. So why I'm raising, okay, Swapnil Prabhu, you finish and then I will give the answer
Yes.
for this.
Prabhuji, first of all, I really look forward to these Friday classes. I have messaged you also, you know that, but I just want to reiterate that. So, one thing which I realized, the initial euphoria, the honeymoon period, what brought me down to ground reality is everyday situations or everyday interactions in the temple or the devotees brought me to realize I have so many plethora of faults within me. For example, like I used to do the kitchen utensil service. I can't cook as much, so I do the kitchen utensil cleaning service. So there were big pots, and at 10 o'clock after the whole Sunday feast is over, then we do it with a group of people. Sorry, long story short. So basically, I would never feel the euphoria in that activity, but now I feel that's also part of the service, and there is a little bit of joy in it as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So just wanted to share that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, the point what I wanted to mention here, this verse is I'm giving an answer for that. See, here Narada Muni is asking, why did you then, the implication question is, why did you then show me your form? I'm so desired again, why you're not showing? So Krishna says, this is just to increase the desire. So that's why some of the lecture also heard a sannyasi say, initially, when you come into Krishna consciousness, all the heavy lifting is done by Krishna himself for you. He's attracting. That's what we call Krishna as all attractive. He attracts us and we start getting his attraction and we start doing. And Krishna does the heavy lifting. We get enthusiasm, we get this, that, and all. But then over a period of time, Krishna says, okay, now you are already there. Now, Baba, you take care of yourself. Now you have to put your endeavor. Rather than I cannot be giving all the time I working for you. Now you do your work. So that's the thing now he says here. So now you start hankering for me. Now that you know the taste, you start hankering. Because you anchor for me, you get freed more from the material desire. You look for me. That's what this verse answers that. All right. So the Lord's darshan, like that, whatever little bliss which we had, we want to get that bliss continuously. That's what should be there. So that means we perform more devotional service, more hunger for Krishna. So then what happens? The material activities, whatever we are involved, that reduces and our spiritual activities increases. The boredom goes there. So spiritual services grows. That means endless joy we need to get. So we go in that direction. All right. Sincere service to God, to Krishna, actually gives us a guidance one step forward, more closer to Him. All right, let's go to the next verse.
Prabhuji, I would like to add one thing over here.
Sure, Mataji.
So I think I've read this a couple of times, and I've also seen like videos that even if you're not feeling 100% on performing, like doing chanting or reading or like performing any of the devotional service, even if you're not like 100% into it, we should still be consistent. Like I think
Exactly.
that's the favor that we, not favor, but like that's something that we can do for Krishna. Like instead of going all in 100%, even if it's not there 100%, we should try to be consistent, and even if it's imperfect, it's fine.
Yeah.
So I think we should at least try to be present for him and make ourselves available. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very nice. Very nicely put. Yes. So whatever we do, everything, that's what again we see even in Narada Muni's in the previous chapter, he talked about whatever you're working, dovetail that for Krishna. So it's not that you do something, we end up, ultimately we have to do, it's only Ananya Bhakti. That's what Krishna wants, exclusive devotion to me. But then as a, with all the being in this material world and we have to do certain things, for maintenance of us. So that what we have to do is dovetail all our work for the satisfaction of Krishna. That's what we discussed also last time. And Rushin Prabhu also very asked a good question. As a student, how I should dovetail it, right? I don't know, Prabhu, whether I answered it last time, whether you made out any sense out of it, but
I understood I understood a bit.
yeah. Yes. Anyone wants to share their points on this before we
Just
go to the next verse?
one point, Prabhu. I think I agree with most of the points. I mean, we have gone through the similar thing. But I think initially our engagement was more on the, like, say, if you're working, especially, you see work as the devotion. I mean, at least that's how it began with me, even though you sometimes might not get what you want to do, but still, that is the only thing where we were doing. But slowly, once we gotten into like Krishna consciousness and started looking around, I think we kind of exposed to the Lord's devotional service, how to do and how to engage our senses. Slowly that devotion, whatever little we had towards work,
Mm.
it got like got a better direction in terms of how to engage our senses in the service. And then you started looking around also, not only in the workplace but rather in when you go to the temple, when you meet the devotees, when you come in the association, everywhere it's like Lord's presence is there. Now with the same consciousness, once you go back to work also, even though you would see not only there, like everywhere else his presence, like so that's how I mean I that's how it began with me. But yeah, everybody may have a different perspective.
Yeah, that's what Krishna has, a different connection with different people. All are not the same.
Yeah. Prabhuji, I am also now feeling motivated to share my story.
Sure, Prabhu. See,
So,
this forum is basically, to inspire. It is not just we routinely read. The more important thing is what is the lesson we learn. We can just read and go. That we can do. So that's why this
yeah.
association is. I'm just facilitating.
Mine is
Sure,
different
Prabhu.
and it is interesting. See, what happened is we were in Malaysia for 10 years, and while we were there towards the last 3 years, we developed a group there, and we were doing regular classes. We read Gita together, we did Bhagavatam, but Bhagavatam we did was done by Chinmay Mission, so that was a very short version. We also did Vedanta, all that, and then when we came here in January 21, I put a message in Facebook group, Indian group, that guys, we are looking for. I was not connected with ISKCON till that time, right? So I put a message in the Facebook, guys. We have come from Malaysia, and I'm looking for some bhakti group or some satsang group where we can join. Nobody replied. Only one Mataji replied, "Why don't you join our group?" I said, "Fine," and she connected me to WhatsApp group. I joined the class, Gita class. Very good. Next week was Bhagavatam class. Next week Gita class. Only when it was the 5th or 6th class, I realized, oh, this is a ISKCON group. So this is how I joined ISKCON. Not that I want to join ISKCON. Krishna says, Rakesh, this is where you have to go, and this is where I will connect you. And I say, this is Krishna's mercy. And since then, I am in Krishna consciousness. Then I, of course, went to temple, and I'm regular there, of course. And now I'm part of this Prabhash Prabhu's Kogra group. That's how I joined ISKCON.
Yeah. Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you. Yeah, just was mentioning, if you see in Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse, Yat karoshi yat asnasi, yat jugosi datasi yat. So that verse is talking about whatever you do, whatever you want to eat, so do it as offering to me, give away. So whatever austerity, I think many of you have done some austerity yesterday, Pandava Nirjal Ekadeshi. I don't know how many of you were Nirjal, but I was not Nirjal, let me tell you frankly.
Prabhu,
Yeah.
we have here today in Alice Spring.
Today is Ekadasi.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So he says, do it as an offering to Krishna. So what I'm trying to say is, whatever we are doing, even this austerity is whatever you're doing, not just, oh, I am doing Nirjal, our mind will be there, the ego of aham, aham, aham. It's not that we are doing for Krishna. So that is the point. So that's the simple thing is anything you do that is being done for Krishna, for offering of Krishna. That intelligence Krishna himself will give. So I cannot put myself in the place of Rushan Prabhu or Swapn Prabhu. You know yourself, and Krishna gives you the intelligence how to dovetail yourself for that particular activity, for like how to offer that to Krishna. No, Krishna provides that intelligence to you. If you pray to him, he will give you the way. All right, Prabhu. Yeah, you want to share something, but very quickly, let's go to the next verse.
Okay. I'll not beat around the bush. I'll just quickly share. So, Prabhuji, like with a initial burst of Krishna consciousness, I fulfill my spiritual life is different and my material life is different. There is no meeting anywhere. These are very separate, like, Clark Kent and Superman. There is no way that you can meet them. But long story short, I think, Bhagavad Gita classes tell that, your material work is also can be dovetailed to Krishna. That's it.
Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. Who wants to read the next verse? Those who
Prabhuji,
are
I can
on,
read.
yeah, you will read. Those who are on the class, those who want to put on the videos, they will have a more personal connection or discussion. Appreciate that. Yes, Mataji, please.
सत्सेवा अदर्भ्यापि जाता मयि दृढमति हित्वा वद्यम् इमं लोकं गान्तामज्जानतम् अशि. Translation: By service of the Absolute Truth, even for a few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become my associate in the transcendental world after giving up the present deplorable material worlds. Purport: Serving the Absolute Truth means rendering service unto the Absolute Personality of Godhead under the direction of the bona fide spiritual master, who is a transparent via medium between the Lord and the neophyte devotee. The neophyte devotee has no ability to approach the absolute personality of Godhead by the strength of his present imperfect material senses, and therefore, under the direction of the spiritual master, he is trained in transcendental service of the Lord. And by such training, even for some days, the neophyte devotee gets intelligence in such transcendental service, which leads him ultimately to get free from perpetual inhabitation in the material world and to be promoted to the transcendental world to become one of the liberated associates of the Lord in the kingdom of God. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, this verses 23 and 24. Again, this one, Lord is talking about, actually is glorifying the devotional services here. So he's saying what is devotional service, how he is glorifying it. So very little service actually gives good results, huge results. So by serving the absolute truth, even for few days, just for few days, a devotee attains firm and fixed intelligence in me. Consequently, he goes on to become an associate in transcendental world. So Krishna also mentions the benefit, of doing such service. So again, we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what happens to a successful yogi and unsuccessful yogi, right? After giving up there, he goes back to the spiritual world.
Neha Vikram Nachurti Pratyavaya Nandite.
There is no loss or diminution in one. No, even in the 6th chapter, he talks about.
Swalpam api dharmasya trayate mahto vaya.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. So small investment, big return. People want to make small investment and get return in the material world. This is the real investment as one has to do. So living entity naturally, we are more oriented towards material because of our conditioned in nature. Or life immemorial, we always go toward the materialistic pleasure. So we are not much desire serving the Lord. So the real service actually comes through the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. That's what Prabhupada highlights in the purport. So who is the transparent media between the Lord and a neophyte devotee? So a spiritual master transforms even our rebellious mentality, all our doubts, everything he clears. So first thing we have to understand that I am not the enjoyer. I am actually the servant. So I was listening to one of the classes because that Prabhu was asking one question earlier. He's not coming now. Like how we came to this material world, right? So actually, there's a video of His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Huh?
Recently, I saw Jayapataka Swami Maharaj exactly the same question
Yeah.
what Prabhu was asking, how we came into this material world.
No, Bhanu Maharaj, yeah.
Yeah, I think many
Yeah.
Maharajas.
Yeah. You want to share that, Prabhu, before I share
No,
Bhanu Maharaj?
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe next time when I.
Yeah. So Bhanu Maharaj just says, you are serving the Lord in the material, spiritual world. For a moment, you had separate, you turned away your face from the Lord for a moment. So actually, the spiritual world, there is no Maya, actually, right? There is no Maya in the spiritual world. But then the desire, which is the one which is causing you to turn, and then even though Maya is not there, but you are influenced by that. And then you are put into this. Once you turn away from the first face away, who comes out. I'll not get into the details of that today. We can discuss that once again. But here, what he is saying, Krishna is saying here, just for few days, just the opposite here. You are all the time materialistic, but here for few days, if you are doing a service to the Lord, especially Janmashtami is going to come, Balaram Jayanti in a couple of months, right? So any service which we do to the Lord, that goes a very long way. So our desires, because everything starts from a desire. So our desire should, align with the Lord's desire, but we have, Prabhupada puts here, you have the transparent medium is the spiritual master who is guiding. So satisfying his desire makes out our little effort, our tiny efforts very powerful. Because again, it's the weightlifting. The spiritual master weights lifts us, he gives us the direction. Like someone said, like when the river actually, it goes and meets in the ocean, if you see there are certain ripples happens when the river goes and hits the hits the ocean. But then after a period of time, the ripples get subsidized, right? Similarly, our small desire initially could be there. If we detail our desire for meaningful to align with all the instructions we hear from our guru and our spiritual master and Krishna, then you will have a smooth sailing towards the Krishna consciousness. Let's go to next one. Jai Dharma Prabhu, you want to read?
मतिर्मयि निबद्धेयं नाविपद्यते कर्हि चेत् प्रजासर्गनिरोधेऽपि स्मृतिश्चामदनुग्रहात्. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Intelligence engaged in my devotion cannot be thwarted at any time, even at the time of creation as well as at the time of annihilation. Your remembrance will continue by my mercy. Purport. Devotional service rendered by the personality of Godhead never goes in vain. Since the personality of God is eternal, intelligence applied in his service or anything done in his relation is also permanent. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that such transcendental service rendered unto the personality of Godhead accumulates birth after birth. And when the devotee is fully matured, the total service counted together makes him eligible to enter into the association of the personality of Godhead. Such accumulation of God's service is never vanquished, but increases till fully matured. Hare
Hare Krishna. So here again, it talks about the permanency of our devotional service. How permanent it is. It cannot be thwarted at any time. It never perishes. So any service is permanent. Again, we see even Narada Muni was telling the same thing to Vyasadeva. Now we are seeing that Krishna is saying this to Narada Muni. So intelligence engaged in my devotion, that will never perish. Any service is permanent. Oh, and it accumulates birth after birth. So whatever credit which you are getting now, it's continued. So any material credits you don't carry forward, but your bhakti credit you always carry forward. So it never goes in vain. Even after destruction, creation, destruction, multiple births. So that's how our bhakti tradition, like previous life, we would have done some bhakti. That's why we are sitting here and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, listening to Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna stories. So our previous credits are there. So that has helped us to continue from where we are. So intelligence offered to the Lord, becomes eternal. That's what I said. Once we get that intelligence, we try to spiritualize it, then we can. All our activities will be certainly dovetailed towards the Lord. So yeah. There was another replying point, like in the 8th chapter, we know that in Bhagavad Gita, it says that whatever at the time you remember at your time of death, you become that. And Krishna says, if you remember me at the time of death, 8.5 and 6 verse talks about this. Time of death, you will come back to me, right? So some people may say, due to some reason, I'm not able to remember what happens, right? And in Varaha Purana, it is said, then Krishna will remember you. He is my devotee. All right. Bhupesh Prabhu. Next verse.
Thanks, Prabhu. Text 25. Etavad uktvo pararama tanmahad bhutam nabho lingam alingam ishwaram aham ch tasmay mahatam mahishyase shirshanavanamam vidyadhe anukampitah. Translation. Then that supreme authority, personified by sound and unseen by eyes, but most wonderful, stopped speaking. Feeling sense of gratitude, I offered my obeisance unto him, bowing my head. Purport that the personality of Godhead was not seen but only heard does not make any difference. The personality of Godhead produced by four Vedas by his breathing, and he is seen and realized through transcendental sound of the Vedas. Similarly, the Bhagavad Gita is the sound representation of the Lord, and there is no difference in identity. The conclusion is that Lord can be seen and heard by persistent chanting of the transcendental sound. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So what we have seen in the previous two verses, that Lord spoke on key point like how to serve the Lord, how important it is to serve. Even a small service, is how long it can take you in the path of devotion. And that is permanent, is credited. So he highlighted on the devotional service and then he stopped speaking. So the Lord stopped speaking. That's what mentions in this verse. So the supreme authority, he came through sound and unseen by eyes, but those wonderful, pleasing words he gave, and he stopped speaking. So this little boy, Narada Muni, felt the sense of gratitude. And what did he do? He offered his obeisances unto him, bowing my eyes. All right, let's go to the next verse. Rushan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. नामान्यनन्तस्य हतत्रपः पठन् गुह्यानि भद्राणि कृतानि च स्मरन् गाम्पर्यटन् स्तुष्टमनागतस्पृह कालं प्रतीक्षं विमदो विमत्सरः. Translation. Thus I began chanting the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation, ignoring all the formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord are benedictory. So doing, I traveled all over the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and unenvious. Purport. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in a nutshell by Narada Muni by his personal example. Such a devotee, after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative, takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire, to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course of quitting the material body, because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead. They are never envious of anyone, nor are they proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame, and pastimes of the Lord, and according to personal capacity, to distribute the message of others' welfare without motive of material gain. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So here, if you see what happened after the Lord's voice he heard. He appeared there, he disappeared, and then he heard his voice, and then that voice also now is gone. So what did Narada do after that? That's what this verse is talking about. So what he did, he started chanting the holy name of the Lord. Not only chanting the name and also talking about this fame of the Lord, remembering the Lord. So did Lord anytime tell him, chant my name or something specifically? Who instructed them? Who
Guru.
instructed Narada? Yes,
Say,
Guru,
Vedanta.
Bhakti
Ved-
Vedantas. Yes. What is the chanting mantra they gave?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Not really.
Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
We read that in the last chapter. In fact, Jayadharma's Prabhu was
Narayan,
based on that. Yes. All the
Narayan.
Chaturyuga's names. That's the mantra they gave in the
Vasudeva.
previous year.
Panchachakra
30,
something. Bhakti.
37, 37th verse of the 5th chapter.
Panchachakra.
So all the glories of Vasudeva as planetary expansion, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Shankarshana. So that's their thing. He chanted.
So he
Om Namo Bhagavate
chanted
Tumbaya Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumnya Aniruddhya Nama Sankarshanaya cha. That's 37th verse. That's the mantra he was chanting, the holy name.
Okay.
Right? So he was fully satisfied. So what I'm trying to tell is, so it's a combination of his, spiritual masters and Krishna's instruction. Now he is following both the instructions of his Krishna and the spiritual master, and is chanting, remembering, and by doing so, he is traveling, the earth, fully satisfied, humble, and non-envious. He has no envious against anyone, even any living entity. So it's not that because someone told him to chant, now that he is a realized soul, now he is realized and he did not want just by someone chanting. We say, chant, chant, chant. But uh, I know people do, if you keep on pestering, some rounds they do, but after some time they fall down again. They come back to their old normal way. So ultimately, once you start realizing other thing, that what is the priority in your life, then that happens. So the simple symptoms of such advanced devotions are mentioned here. If you see in that verse, just go to the translation synonyms, Prabhu. The synonyms of advanced devotees mentions there, like Triptya Mana or Dosya Mana, fully satisfied, and Gata Sprita, completely freed from all material desire, Vimuhda, no pride in advancement, and Vimetsara, no envy of other devotees, without being envious. So these are the qualities. If you find these coming within you, that means you can see that you are advancing in devotion. This is what happens. All right.
Prabhu, is he
Palak,
not chanting Narayan, Narayan all the time? Narad Muni?
this is what Bhagavatam says, Mataji. That's
It's
the
But
mantra his Guru Maharaj is given. But in movies they show he also chants Narayan. When he's traveling, he's glorifying the Lord. Now, what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying, as a boy, we are talking about the son of a maid.
Prabhu, the text 37 in the purport,
Yeah,
if we say according to Panchatartha, Narayan is the perennial cause of all expansions of God. So
correct.
that's the meaning of Narayana is in this Vasudeva and Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Anuruddha have subset of Narayan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we saw today morning also,
Yeah,
meaning
yeah,
just
yeah,
before the class, not morning,
yeah,
just before the class. From
yeah.
Narayana only all these four came. Like
All the four
Narayana
came.
is, yeah,
Okay.
Narayana is composed from it. Palak Mataji, yeah. We'll do one more verse. Mataji wants to read.
Sure, Prabhu. Hare
Yeah,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Verse 1.6.27. Evam Krishna Mater Brahman
Yes.
Nasud Das Sakya Manata Manaha Kalaha Pradur Bhutkale Tadit Gaudamat Yatha. Translation. And so, O Brahmana Vyasadeva, in due course of time, I, who was fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna and who therefore had no attachments, being completely freed from all material things, met with death as lightning and illumination occur simultaneously. Purport. To be fully absorbed in the thought of Krishna means clearance of material dirts or hankerings. As a very rich man has no hankerings for small petty things, so also a devotee of Lord Krishna who is guaranteed to pass on to the kingdom of God, where life is eternal, fully cognizant and blissful, naturally has no hankerings for petty material things, which are like dolls or shadows of the reality and are without permanent value. That is the sign of spiritually enriched persons. And in due course of time, when a pure devotee is completely prepared, all of a sudden the change of body occurs, which is commonly called death. And for the pure devotee, such a change takes place exactly like lightning and illumination follows simultaneously. That is to say, a devotee simultaneously changes his material body and develops a spiritual body by the will of the Supreme. Even before death, a pure devotee has no material affection due to his body's being spiritualized like a red hot iron in contact with fire.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So actually, we have come to a climax here. So here it says, what happened in due course of time. Now Narada Muni is saying to Vyasadeva, what happened? I was fully absorbed in the Lord, thinking of Krishna all the time. And that way, all this, he was so much advanced in Krishna consciousness without any attachment to anything. He had only his mother, and his mother is also not there. Now he's completely free from all material theme. So what finally he met with? Death.
Death.
That's how lightning and illumination occurs. All right, I'll stop here. We will discuss this in more detail. Next set of verses, this verses will be how Narada Muni becomes full perfection. What happens after his death? That's the suspense. Next week we can read it. All right, stop sharing, bro. Yeah.